It's that time of year when Kings Island fans fall in love with the lights, the sights, and the sounds of Winterfest. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans. That's who we are. That's who we care about. Don, Winterfest, man, it's my favorite time of year at the park. It's like transforming the park into a winter wonderland, isn't it?
Absolutely, Ryan. It's a real special time of year for the park guests, for everyone who works at the park. The annual transformation, it's just incredible. Can you believe they've upped the ante this year? Over 7 million lights.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's an increase of 40%, give or take. That should be very noticeable by the guests. So I cannot wait to see it this coming Friday when they open up, Black Friday 2023, and see what a difference that amount of lights make. And then, of course, they've got my favorite, the Eiffel Tower Christmas tree, which is one of the biggest Christmas trees in the world.
Yeah, that sets the perfect festive scene, especially with Snowflake Lake, right in front of the tower there. It's an ice skating paradise, and the International Street, it just looks beautiful, adorned with holiday charm. Just really, really fun, festive environment.
Yeah, I think International Street is the perfect showcase for the event. It's so beautiful in so many ways. But let's not forget about the live shows. This is all about the entertainment, which is one of my favorite aspects of this whole season. But you've got Tinker's Toy Factory, Cool Yule Christmas, the Mistletones, actually 10 shows in total. So it's a magical overload. For those of people that like shows, this is such a good one to check out.
Ryan, do you have a favorite Winterfest show?
I do. So really liked both versions of Tinker's Toy Factory, both Tinker's Toy Factory and I guess did they still call it Christmas Fever last year? I know that the plot changed a little bit.
It changes. It seems to change every year a little bit depending on what's going on in the world. But I agree with you. I really like Tinker's Toy Factory. I like it that it's better. I like it better in the Kings Island Theater than I did in the Fest House. The problem with the Fest House show was there was a lot of distractions in there with everybody eating, getting up and down from their table, walking in front of the stage, and you don't have that issue in the Kings Island Theater.
That's one of several things that kind of like make it an advantage. I mean, the Kings Island Theater is a theater, the Fest House is not. It's got a stage built into it. So this way you can have a bigger, grander show with better sets and stuff. And I think that it was pretty well represented when they moved it. Was it last year? I believe it was last year that they moved it into the Kings Island Theater, which is where I think it belongs. The Charlie Brown Christmas thing that was in there previously had its fans, but I think it ran its course, and I think Tinker is just such a statement. It's their Earl the Squirrel, you know. So I'm glad that it's finally on the stage that it should be on.
Yeah, that's one of those signature shows that you just bring back year after year after year, and the guests will never get tired. Families are also in for a treat at Winterfest, with Christmas crafting for the kids. They can write letters to Santa. There's cookie decorating with Mrs. Claus. Ryan, you talk about those lasting memories that you're creating with your family and your friends. Winterfest, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, actually, some of my fondest memories have been the cookie decorating. I've done it like 3 different times. I'm not big into cookies like that, and I'm not a talented cookie decorator, but, you sit down with with your friends, you buy 1 box, it's got 4 giant cookies, so everybody gets a cookie, and you can just decorate it. You look like a child doing it unless you've got some sort of hidden talent that I don't know about, but, you've got Mrs. Claus coming and interacting with you. They do such a beautiful job of transforming what was part of the Emporium into a kitchen. It's got a stove and everything. So I just think it's such an incredible and integral part of the event. So if anyone's on the fence about it, I would recommend it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. And what about the food though? They got gourmet hot chocolate. They've got special food offerings, but they haven't announced what the food offerings are this year. But in past years, it's like each location kind of has its own specialty. And
hmm
a lot of them are featured on the dining plan, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And, it's hard to think about the holidays without thinking about food and treats and all that. So this fits right in. Um, let's talk about the Winterfest Wonderland Parade.
Mm.
I think that's a must see when you go to the event. A lot of great spots along the the path where the parade will go to see it. Those floats extravagantly decorated. You've got your merriment characters and everything with it. Um, you got the man himself too, Santa Claus. Up and through December 23rd. So that's something that if you're going to go to Winterfest, do not miss the
Oh,
parade.
yeah,
What are your
yeah,
thoughts,
if you're
Ryan?
gonna miss the parade, just don't show up. It's kinda like, if you're just not gonna take the final exam, just don't enroll in the class. The parade is such a must do. That and Tinkers. If you can do those 2, then you've had a good day at Winterfest, but, um, it was funny because I originally the first time they had the parade, at least at Kings Island, was last year, so 2022, and I remember thinking, "It's really good, but I kinda like the, Grand Carnival parade better." But as the season went on and I noticed more details and stuff, and they, like, really got in the groove of stuff, I really started to appreciate this parade because, first of all, they can do a lot more with the lighting because it's definitely dark out when this parade goes by, and they've got, like, the Frost float, which and again, we don't know if these particular floats are returning, but that one shot snow out it's almost like had tuba horns and would shoot blasts of snow out onto the crowd, which is really fun, but man, that parade is so cool. I love it.
Yeah, it looks great at night, especially if you're up in the International Restaurant and you're looking down at it as it's coming up International Street and then it makes the turn in front of the fountain. I mean, it's just spectacular, Disney caliber. Um, yeah, that's something again. Do not miss
Yeah, I agree,
the
and I should
Winterfest
note
Wonderland
that
Parade.
we recently found out that the parade has a slight route alteration in which it's gonna go down the La Rosa side of International Street and then back up on the Grain and Grill/Starbucks side of International Street, which is opposite of last year. So, basically, if you're standing facing the Kings Island sign from the entrance, it'll be going right to left instead of left to right. So, the parade will terminate essentially in front of Mrs. Claus's kitchen. That's gonna be the front of the end of the
Yeah,
parade.
I think that's a good call to reroute it that way. I was one of the um, things that maybe was a guess dissatisfier if you were on that La Rosa side. You were down by graders, and then the parade would start to come down the road and it would just stop, right in front, and all the characters would kind of like take off. So, yeah, it's a good move to have it kind of like circle around that
Is
way.
it different now? I noticed that too, because you got about 70% of the parade, because you would get as far as you would see for until the show stopped. Then they would do the show stop, and then that's the end of the parade. All the performers, and they would hightail it because they have other shows to do. So you got all your elves and all your cool Yule people just going running, to try to get to their next show.
Right.
So maybe that's the intention. Going down the other side, they can perform the rest of the parade and maybe break off past like the funnel cake place. I don't know. We're certainly going to talk about
That's a
this.
better place to do your break because you'll, like I said, you'll cut in front, now where the bandstand area is to go up the other side. So I think that's a good move.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna be really good regardless, and it's funny because Kings Island, in my history, in my time visiting the park, dipped their toe in with the parade, with the Nickelodeon Celebration Parade for a few years, and, obviously, I think with the International Street renovation, they had parades in mind, but you can totally tell how Kings Island is built for parades. I think that that's really cool. It's all Disney World, like Magic Kingdom's like that too, where you can kind of tell, like, oh, this seems right. And Kings Island definitely has that vibe too, where Coney Mall is definitely built for a parade, and International Street is definitely built for a parade, and so on. So I think that's really cool, and I think that the times that we do have a parade, which is a lot of the year nowadays, um, it's a great time to be there, and they do parades. That's the best thing they do. They've always got guaranteed parades. But yeah,
They do.
so regardless, and if shows aren't your thing, which they should be because it's Winterfest, 20 rides open, including the new Soul Spin, and you're gonna have Mystic Timbers as well as Cargo Loco, all sorts of cool stuff. I kind of imagined Cargo Loco would be on the list. I'm a little surprised to see Soul Spin. That doesn't strike me as a wintertime ride, but what a welcome change.
It'll be a little chilly. Just make sure you're bundled up. But no, it's good to see the two new rides have been added. I think that area, if you were there in the spring and summer, really, really well done. Adding to that adventure port area there, so it's good to see that those have been added in. You mentioned Mystic Timbers. It's a fun ride in the wintertime to ride. I really like that, and Flight of Fear, which they have dubbed Flight of Cheer during Winterfest. get to warm up a little bit when you go in and ride that attraction.
Yeah, and I really like the theme that they do for, Area 51 or Area 72, sorry. When they have, like what's funny is, like, if you don't know, it looks bad. Like, I was with a group and they were like, "They just threw lights in those trees," because they're strip lights. But they're supposed to look, like, alien-y, so you can't make those look uniform and, like, festoon lights and stuff, they just gotta be like squiggles, but if you're like, "Oh, it's an alien theme, that looks great," so, yeah, the Flight of Cheer thing is really neat, and they usually decorate on the inside, they have Flight of Cheer posters, and they kind of, like, integrate it into the theme and stuff, but, yeah, Flight of Fear is another welcome one, looking forward to riding that, I haven't ridden Flight of Fear in months.
Well, now that's a good time to do it at Winterfest. It's the perfect topping to Kings Island's 2023 season. And, for our listeners, make sure to check out Kings Island's official website, the mobile app for all the details on operating days, hours, tickets, and the exclusive perks that will accompany a 2024 Gold Season Pass if you do not already have one.
Yeah, I mean, but who doesn't already have one? Come on. So yeah, don't miss out on this enchanting celebration. It's really the best in Cincinnati. The zoo's got a good one. There's more to do at Winterfest, but it's the place to be this holiday season. I know I'll be there.
It is, and that wraps up another episode of Tower Topics. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to stay tuned for more episodes.
Thanks, everybody.